Good morning, children. Welcome back to your online class on English language. I hope you all are doing good. So today we will continue with the active and the passive voice. Okay, using simple past tense. Okay, in the previous class we did about the present tense, all the four forms. Today we will be dealing with the past tense, okay, all the four forms. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, look at the board carefully. Now simple past tense is also known as the past indefinite tense, and the structure for simple past tense is the subject and the V2 form of the verb means the past form of the verb. Okay, so the example goes like this: the boy played football. The boy is the subject here. Played is the V2 form of the verb, isn't it? V2 form of the verb, and football is the object. This is in the active. Okay. Now, if you have to change it into passive, you'll have to look into the structure, and the structure goes like this: the subject has to be there, plus was, were. These are auxiliary verbs. It has to be there because it's there in the structure. So was and were has to be there, and the V3 form of the verb means the past participle form of the verb. At times the V2 and the V3 forms of the verbs are the same, like call, called and called, isn't it? Play, played and played. But at times in irregular verbs, the past and the past participle forms are different, like write, wrote and written. Over here, the V2 form of play is played, and V3 form of play is also played. Okay, so football was played by the boy. Okay, now come to the next one, that is past continuous tense. Okay, so look at the board carefully. Now, past continuous tense. Past continuous tense. Now, children, look at the structure. Look at the structure properly. The subject has to be there, structure. Okay. The subject has to be there. Okay. Plus was or were. These are auxiliary verbs. It has to be there because it's there in the structure. Plus, since it's continuous, so ing form of the verb or the fourth form of the verb. Ing form of the verb. It has to be there. So the example goes like this: Emma was writing. Emma was writing a letter. Okay. This is in the active voice. Okay. See over here, children. The subject is there, isn't it? The auxiliary verb was a verb, was is here, isn't it? The main verb, writing, the ing form of the verb, it's there. And a letter, sorry, L over here, a letter. This is the object. Okay, so if you have to change this one into passive, you'll have to know the structure, and the structure goes like this. Look at the structure carefully. The structure goes like this. The subject has to be there. Was a verb. It has to be there. Okay. Plus been. It has to be there. Okay. Plus V3 or the base form of the verb. It has to be there. Okay. So I'll cite an example for you. A letter was being written by Emma. A letter was being written by Emma. Okay, this one is in the passive voice. Now look at the structure, children. A letter. This is the new subject, isn't it? Which was previously the object in the active voice. This becomes the new subject. Was. It's an auxiliary verb. It's not up there in the structure. Being. Okay. This is also an auxiliary verb. Okay, helping verb. Written, the V3 form of the verb. See here, the V3 form of the verb. And by is the preposition and Emma is the object. We are. Okay. So look at the word carefully. Past continuous tense. The structure goes like this. The subject has to be there. Was a verb. It has to be there. Plus ing form of the verb. It has to be there, isn't it? This is the active. Emma was writing a letter. Okay, so if you have to change it into the passive voice, you have to write a letter was being written by Emma. A letter is the subject, was is the auxiliary verb over here. It's not out there in the structure. Been, you have to add been. This is also an auxiliary verb, the be form of the verb, isn't it? And written, the V3 form. Okay, ing form of the verb changes into the V3 form of the verb, that is written, and by Emma is the object. Okay, I hope I have made myself clear. Now we will do past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Okay. So the structure for active voice goes like this. Have. Any perfect tenses we'll have to add either have or had. That's the rule. So the structure goes like this. Subject plus had plus V3 form of the verb. That is the past participle form of the verb. Okay. So the example goes like this. He had delivered. He had delivered the pizzas. Okay, the pizzas. Okay, pizzas. Okay, pizzas. This is in the active. Okay, so if you have to change it into passive, the structure goes like this. The children, remember the structure. The subject has to be there. Had. It has to be there since it's a perfect tense, isn't it? Plus, you'll have to add be. The be form of the verb. Be has to be there. And V3 form of the verb, that is the past participle form of the verb, and the And the sentence goes like this. The pizzas, had been delivered by him. Okay. Now, sit children. In the active voice, look at the structure. He is the subject. Had, it's no doubt there in the structure. Since it's a perfect tense, so had or have. Okay. But over here it's a past tense, so had or here, it has to be there. And delivered, the V3 form of the verb. It has to be there. The pizza is the object. It's in the active. Now, if you have to change it into passive, you'll have to write the pizzas. The object becomes the new subject, isn't it? The pizzas had. Did you see it's there in the structure? Been. It's there in the structure, the auxiliary verb. Okay? Had been delivered, the V3 form of the verb, by him. He becomes by him. Okay? That becomes the, previously it was the subject, now it becomes the object over here by him. Okay? I hope I have made myself clear so far. Okay, now past perfect continuous tense. Okay? Past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so children, the structure goes like this. Okay, the subject, the structure goes like this. Okay, the subject has to be there. Okay, subject has to be there. Had, it has to be there, plus be, it has to be there, and the be plus the ing form of the verb since it's a continuous tense. Perfect continuous, had is also there, and continuous tense, the ing form of the verb. Okay? So the sentence goes like this. The sentence goes like this. Seth Liam had been preparing the restaurant. Okay, the restaurant's dinner for 3 years. Okay, now see children, the subject is here, isn't it? Had. It's no doubt there in the structure. Auxiliary verb, isn't it? Been also, it's there in the structure. Auxiliary verb, helping verb, isn't it? Preparing, the ing form of the verb preparing. The restaurant's dinner. This is the object. Okay. The restaurant's dinner for 3 years. Why for 3 years? Because it's a continuous tense. So you'll have to mention the time frame. This is the time frame over here. The time, sorry, not the time frame, but the time reference. Because it's a continuous tense. Because something has been taking place continuously. Okay, so the time frame is, the time reference is there. Okay, so if you have to change it into passive, you'll have to write. So the structure goes like this. Okay, children, look at the structure. The structure goes like this. The subject has to be there plus had. It has to be there plus be plus V3 form of the verb, that is the past participle form of the verb. It has to be there. Now this one is in the active voice, isn't it? Now if we'll have to change it into passive, you'll have to write the restaurant, dinner sorry. Bean also has to be there. Okay. Bean plus bean plus V3 is the verb. Had been prepared. Been prepared. V3 form, isn't it? Prepared by Seth Liam for 3 years. Okay, this is the time reference. Since it's a continuous tense, something that is taking place, that is continuing. That is why you'll have to mention the time reference over here. So see the structure in the active voice. The subject has to be there plus had plus be plus ing form of the verb. It has to be there. So the sentence goes like this. Seth Liam had been preparing the restaurant's dinner for 3 years. Okay, this is in the active voice. So if you have to change it into passive, you'll have to write. The structure goes like this. The subject has to be there. Had. It has to be there because it's a perfect tense, isn't it? Perfect continuous. Had been. Been has to be there plus be. You'll have to add being over there plus V3 form of the verb, means the past participle form of the verb has to be there. So the sentence goes like this. The restaurant's dinner, sorry, I missed out had here, had, okay, the restaurant's dinner had been prepared by Seth Liam for 3 years. Okay, so I missed out had over here, say children, had over here, okay, had. So if you have to change it into past verb, you'll have to write the restaurant's dinner had been prepared by Seth Liam for 3 years. Okay, but children, one thing you'll have to, in day-to-day uses, okay, we don't use these kind of sentences. While it's rarely used, it sounds quite odd also. So in a normal or practical uses, it's very, very rare to use these kind of passive voices or these kind of sentences like the restaurant's dinner had been prepared by Zephaniah for 3 years. So the uses is very, very rare. Okay. So this much for today. In the next class, I'll continue with the future tenses. Thank you.